Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another Bloomburrow Arena Direct, which is our chance to win physical booster boxes of Bloomburrow mailed directly to our door by playing some digital Magic the Gathering. We've got to get a 6-win run in best of one Bloomburrow sealed before 2 losses, so an insanely high variance, high risk event here, where we are playing one of the most high variance gambly formats ever printed in Magic, which is Play Booster Sealed. It is all about opening up 50 million rares and hoping for the best. So let's cross those fingers, bust open these packs, and see what we get to play with today. All right, our rares are all over the place, which is quite bad. Multiple of them are completely unplayable, like Artist's Talent and Wishing Well, but we could be like a blue-white birds deck with Castrol and Season of Weaving being pretty strong. Could maybe be, I guess, blue-green with Season of Weaving and Clement. Clement's only really good, though, if you have a ton of other synergy in your sealed pool with a bunch of those frogs with great enter effects. So I am not particularly happy with this sealed pool, but we'll have to see. We could have some excellent synergies to go with these cards. Camellia as well, another card that can be super explosive if you have the good squirrels and foraging to go with her. We've got a Fountain Port Bell we can play in anything that also helps us a tiny bit towards splashing in a third color, but not a lot when it's the only colorless fixing in the sealed pool. Still feels a little more likely to want to be 2-color if we can. Um, but we'll see if there's any other fixing or anything like that. Check out the white now. Just going to move color to color here. Do things pretty quick. Actually, I didn't check the multicolored cards yet because I am a doofus. Oh god, now I accidentally put every white card in the deck, which I wasn't trying to do. There we go. Uh, yeah, it's Corpseberry Cultivators and Pawn Prophet. These are all fine cards for sealed. The Cultivator's going to get big over the course of the game. They get counters on them anytime you forage for any reason. So if you're foraging with other cards like Camellia, they get counters as well. So that could be actually decent if we have a good green-black foraging deck. There's pretty much nothing else, though. Just the solid card draw from Pawn Prophet for anything blue or green that we play. All right, checking out the white, we have Harvest Right Host, one of my favorite uncommons in the set. It goes really well with Carrot Cake, Hop to it, anything that makes multiple rabbits in one turn. So a turn 3 Host into a turn 4 Carrot Cake can spit out those 2 rabbit tokens and draw you an extra card. The Hop to it obviously just immediately does it. So that's great as well. There's solid removal here because we have Banishing Light and Sonar Strike, and we have a couple decent birds for going blue-white birds with some piloted provisioners. So yeah, white looks great here. Pretty much nothing I'd cut, like maybe a Mabel's Medal, but it looks pretty good. Checking out the blue now. We've got Gothip's Talent that sucks. Mind Spiral's not very good. Wishing Well is completely unplayable. We've got the Season of Weaving, though, so we get a massive bomb for playing this color, as well as the blue-white bomb. We get some decent interaction with Sugarcoat, double Dire Downdraft. The Shoreline Looter's pretty good at setting up your draws throughout the game. And then the Sky Skippers, the Water Spout Warden, fine for just having a bunch of flyers in the deck, which is something we would want going blue-white flyers. Yeah, cut these 3. Play some multicolored cards, cut some of the more filler stuff, maybe the Warden, or some of the duos, because we have so many 5-drops. Blue-white flyers is definitely a spot that we could be. It's perfectly playable. Here for black now, we have excellent removal with 2 Feed the Cycles and a Nocturnal Hunger. Some good black-white life gain, bat synergy cards with the Starscape Cleric. Assassin's fine, Orator's fine. I mean, there's really no super powerful reason to be playing black here. What it does give us is some excellent interaction, some excellent removal spells. So any deck that could really use that removal can definitely play black for that. For red, we have like a really good creature with Collector. In the right deck, Coruscation Mage is pretty good. But overall, pretty filler creatures and overall pretty filler spells. Just one good removal spell and one mediocre one. And all of these spells are pretty bad. Yeah, red is our worst color so far. And last but hopefully not least, if our green is really good, we could go green-black Camella. Or Camellia. But green just looks okay. It's probably the second best deck in our sealed pool. Is going to be green-black Squirrels Camellia. We've got Bodyguards and Curious Foragers for that. Baker's Bane Duo plays really well with Foragers. Harvest plays fine. We have the excellent black removal spells. in the color pair, but the green removal is going to be a little mediocre with a Polywall up here without a lot of frogs. Yeah, green-black Camellia, some cultivators there. Definitely a deck we could try. Or blue-white Castrol here. I think I liked the blue-white Castrol deck better, but I will start with the green-black Squirrels because I know that's a much more popular archetype, so nobody's going to be happy if I don't at least look at it and make sure that the blue-white deck looks better to me. What did I cut that I didn't mean to cut? I know I did. Oh, it was the Wolverine. I could splash blue, but that doesn't get our double blue mythic. It just gets a random frog, a Clement in here. I don't think that's a great card to splash. Yeah, we can't splash in the double blue season. I mean, the Heaped Harvests, if you run 2 islands, 1 copy of Heaped Harvest does pick up 2 islands. And we have 2 copies of it, of the Heaped Harvest. So, like, in theory, would be slightly playable. But we basically have to, like, Splinter Twin combo. Hit Heaped Harvest, hit season. So it's still probably not the best. This actually does look like it can grind out a really good long game as well. This might actually be the deck. Cut a land for a Fountain Port Bell. Oh wow, we have a Mudflat Village and an Oak Hollow Village playing this color pair. I'm not sure Oak Hollow Village is really worth it. I feel like this gets activated so infrequently and so late in the game that more often than not it just punishes you by not giving you green mana. But if we have like no non-creature green spells anyway, then it doesn't really hurt us mana-wise. Yeah, we probably still play it. Mudflat Village, there's a real cost. The fact that this cannot help cast Nocturnal Hunger, Feed the Cycle, Dire Sight, anything like that, that is genuinely painful. But the upside's a lot higher. I've activated a lot of Mudflat Villages in my time. It's got a great ability for later in the game. Yeah, no, I actually think this looks really consistent here. It's got an excellent curve as well, with some flexibility to it. This deck is good. It's at least good for sure. What else could I put back in here if I cut this Soothsayer that doesn't really synergize? Huskburster? I don't really want to try to do the Season of Weaving thing. I mean, if we ever mill an island, then I can't do the Heaped Harvest Season of Weaving thing anyway. It's just going to be bad. SharePot actually doesn't look horrible in here because we have so much foraging going on. Double Curious Forager, double Corpseberry Cultivator, Camellia, Bodyguard. Yeah, maybe I actually play the SharePot over the Soothsayer. Not a lot of decks that actually want that card, but I think this is one of them. I don't think we need Peerless Recycling because we have double Curious Forager already. And a Bonebind Orator. Yeah, there's quite a bit of graveyard recursion in this deck. Without that, maybe have the option of running some High Strides in here. But those are bad with Oak Hollow Village, potentially. But what would I cut for the High Strides if I really want to do that? Creature count 16. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't really want to cut any creatures here. I could cut like a Stargaze for 1 High Stride. I don't hate that. Because I've got the Dire Sight as well. Just like a cheap version of Stargaze. It's more efficient than Stargaze at 3 mana, but Stargaze can go way higher, obviously. Draw a lot more cards if you draw it super late. Yeah, I think I only really need one of the two, so I can cut a Stargaze, play a High Stride. We're a pretty creature-heavy deck. That's going to play fine. Yeah, this looks super solid to me. I'm not unhappy with this at all. So I'm going to lock that in and save that. So I don't have to rebuild it if it looks better than the blue-white deck. But I do really want to look at the blue-white deck as well. That was what instinctually felt really strong to me. But I've also had really good experiences drafting blue-white in this format, so there's definitely some amount of user bias based on what has played well for me. So what do we got here? It is worth noting the green-black deck could splash like the Clement because it has some good ender effects. I don't think that would be terrible. I just don't think we should go for the all-in double blue spell splash in there. This is really good removal and great Harvest Right Host combos for card draw. Need 24 non-lands because I've got the Fountain Port Bell in there, so we need one more addition to the deck. Mabel's Metal, I suppose. Man, I like this deck a lot too, and Flyers play really well in Sealed. The curve's definitely a bit higher here. Still got great interaction. We might even have better interaction. Banishing Light, Sonar Strike, Sugarcoat, Double Dire. No, it's pretty comparable. Pretty comparable removal spells here. Maybe bigger blowouts with Season of Weaving, but I do think the other deck might actually have more synergy. Got the Great Castrel here and some other birds for it. But that's about it when it comes to excellent synergy. Harvest Right Host synergy with Carrot Cake and Hop to it. Those are the only two cards that work with that. This is definitely viable. It's definitely viable. But I actually think that Golgari Squirrels deck looked really, really consistent here. So I'm going to roll with that. We're just going to reload that, lock it in, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. All right, here we are for game one, instantly flooding. Got the 4-lander, and we draw land 5 and land 6, 2 for 2. But we keep this because it has both our colors, and we start our curve on turn 2 to get things rolling ASAP. The Dire Sight to mill away any extra lands. From there, if our opponent plays a token, that Druid of the Spade is going to be terrifying. Play the Sticky Tongue Sentinel to hold that thing off. Trade off here. If I wait till turn 4, I can hold up the High Stride to go with it as well, so we'll Dire Sight here. Definitely mill a land, pick up a Polywallop, and an Assassin. Alright, no token for the Druid, but now they have a Fountain Port to make a token every single turn. Card is gross. Got enough spells now that we are getting to where we have like a dilemma, where I could Assassin and Sharepot, or I could Sentinel, hold up a High Stride. Like, I've got a lot of options here. I could Assassin, hold up a High Stride. I think I'm just going to Assassin the Sharepot here. Go for the race. Assassin plus Cleric is a lot of damage with the triggered ability. Alright, there's the fish token. So they do have the 4/3 Trampler. Definitely not blocking. We're down to 12. There's the head of the homestead. Okay, so they just have infinite tokens for the Druid anyway. Got Polywallop plus High Stride for tricks here. This is looking really bad, though. That's so many stats on their board. Well, this looks pretty good. Yeah, never mind. There goes a bunch of their stats, then. I get to eat up the Head of the Homestead and the Druid. Hopefully just ride this one flyer all the way to victory. There's our own Pawn Prophet, so now I can Pawn Prophet, Sticky Tongue Sentinel, the Pawned Prophets. I could Sticky Tongue the Starscape Cleric at any point here to try to offspring it and start hitting for 3 in the sky every turn instead of 2 in the sky every turn, but that's frustrating. Alright. Excellent rares, excellent. They just eat the Cleric for free now. The Sticky Tongue nonsense is sorcery speed, so we never could have gone around that. They get to eat my most important creature, and draw an extra card, and give flying to their 1/1, and have a 3/3 flyer. Just get 4 for 1 pretty casually there. Probably just the card of the game. Salvation Swung has completely dumpstered us. Sharpot also sorcery. Even if I held the mana up for that. There's Intrepid Rabbit, the format's best common. And this is not enough to stabilize against all this. Definitely not if we just hit more mana, but at least that I can cycle away. I need 2 extra mana to put a counter on the Scribe. I have to play the Scribe and have a Forest and Village untapped, so it's not a counter here yet anyway. Yeah, maybe I just wasn't even supposed to dig here, but I was desperate. Maybe I had to just blow up Swan. If I just blow up Swan, like I'm dying to all this ground stuff anyway. Rock in a hard place where either way we basically die. And our opponent can draw an extra card every turn for the next like 4 turns, even if I live this. Their deck is popping off. They're just dying on the ground here. Even at 6 life, I'm probably dead on board. I guess not quite. I just remain at 3 life and lose pretty much my whole board. But again, here's where things really don't matter, where we see like even if we stabilize here, we're losing the card advantage war too. There is not a single axis of this game we are close to winning. Maybe the mill axis? Nope. They're also somehow not milling out before us right now. Barely. But barely is enough. Just get trampled there anyway. Alright, whatever. Combat trick me. Alright, here we are for game 2 on the play this time. Cultivator, Sticky Tongue Sentinel, looks like a fine start. And there's the Bonebind order, actually. So we get to curve out here, which is going to be great. Mono black so far from our opponent. They start with the 3-tree mascot. Which is a fine trade, but I think I would combat trick. They let me anyway. I'll play the Cultivator over the Sticky Tongue Sentinel here, because we could draw into some really good synergies for that. Tiny bit less damage, potentially. But it could also be a tiny bit more damage if we just start foraging immediately. Just make the food and go for it. Hired Claw. Lizards attack, they deal 1 to us, and the mascot is a lizard, which is cute. Okay. Curious Forager. Yeah, so the food token's going to be pretty valuable pretty soon. Okay, we're just going to jam in and hold up the High Stride. And if we don't need to cast it, we have to choose between playing a Share Pod or something, or just like tapping out for the 3-3. Just getting raw stats out of our Sentinel. We got the Scales of Shale here. It's actually insanely efficient with the 3-tree mascot there. Three-tree mascot, absolute MVP for our opponent right now. And they only cast 1 spell off of it, but when you're stuck on monocolor, that mana fixing is super important. So we draw into a save or anything, we're just going to delete that ASAP. Okay, that is not the worst for me. Ooh, another Corpseberry Cultivator, get a counter on both? That feels good. Do play well in multiples. Double Bushy Bodyguard. Have the Sticky Tongue Sentinel for them later. Alright, they're just going to concede. They're not hitting the mana they need, and they are over it. We are 1-1 heading into game 3. Alright, here we are for game 3. We have Orator into Cultivator again. So feed the cycle for some cheap removal. We'll put a Swamp on top here. Bark Knuckle Boxers. They're starting with big damage real quick. 2 mana, 3/2. But I've got kind of the perfect trade here, a 2/2 that has an ability in the graveyard. And if we force our opponent to use a combat trick, it's still going to be a 1-for-1 trade. They trade their 1 combat trick for our 1 creature. And it soaks up a little bit of mana. Okay. If I play really slow, I could Okalo Village, but it's likely better to just get this Cultivator out. They've got 5 power on board already, 6 if they expend. Yeah. Set up the board so we have like a double block for a 3/3. So we are on the draw here. We're going to be on the back foot. All right, let's see that that combat trick here. Come and get it, sure. And cash grab. Ooh, 2 rares. Salvation Swan and Thornvault Forager. Those are both insane. The Thornvault Forager searches for a squirrel every turn and puts it on the board. They're going to get the Salvation Swan, though, and we may die to the same stuff. For both of our losses, we'll see. If we just get deleted by the Swan again. I'm casting a 3-drop this turn, so we will sack the bell before I do anything else. See if I'd rather feed the cycle or just cast Camellia. We just cast Camellia, right? Because they're just going to slam dunk the Swan down. So we're not going to block any of this. And then we'll feed the Swan. Yeah, I feel like that's what we're doing here. Okay, I gotta play a green source at least. Alright, no Swan this turn. They did not have the untapped mana. Sticky Tongue Sentinel kind of does literally nothing right now. It's a 3-3 reach. It's never not a 3-3 reach, but I guess I could like Offspring the Cleric and then try to pick it up, recast it. Oof. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not out racing with the Starscape Cleric. So let's just get the 4-4. That stopped the one of the 3-3 attackers here. Whoop. Just punched my monitor in the face. This is why Intrepid Rabbit is the best common in the format. That is such a bad board for me. Yeah, good lord. With High Stride and Feed the Cycle, that's the maximum blocks here. Well, their deck seems super strong again. Beza and Salvation Swan and Thornvault Forager This sealed run felt like kind of a deck power level issue, sort of sealed run. Where it's like, well, I mean, I just don't think we win these matchups. Oh my god, you have 2-mana removal too? You got me. You absolutely got me. Well, that's sealed for you. We just got outclassed really hard this run for the 1 and 2, I think. Yeah, I mean, I could have went for our blue-white birds deck. That deck had a little bit less consistent of a mana curve, pretty much the same amount of removal. I honestly feel like those games play out pretty much the exact same way. Should we play the blue-white deck? Yeah, I don't think this build was terrible or anything. I think we just ran into some stronger stuff and some weaker draws, and that is all it takes. Pretty boring sealed run this time around. I don't think there was a whole lot of interesting stuff we could have done deck building or gameplay wise to really change anything about the outcome of this one. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.